Candice Owens, Candice Owens. Her name is all over the internet. She's always been pretty popular, but lately there's so much controversy going on about Candice Owens. And I thought I'd weigh in here. Look, I would say about 5 months ago, 6 months ago, I almost worshipped her. As I looked at her as, well, the way that a lot of us saw Charlie Kirk. I looked at her as one of the young people that was going to save America. I thought she was physically gorgeous. I thought she was a great mother. I thought she was America's hope. I literally told everyone that would listen that, man, if she ever ran for president or any political office, she would get my vote. She was just so articulate and well-spoken and blah, blah, blah. And then something just flipped on her. And I don't even recall, as I sit here in my truck, I don't recall the exact moment, but I do remember there was I was watching her talk months ago, and it had to be about Israel. And I just remember thinking, what did she just say? And I started paying close attention to her, and she just really crashed and burned, just went right off the deep end with so much of her stuff. She just flipped on everything that I loved about her. All of a sudden, she had this complete other stance, and I don't know exactly when or why or how that happened. She is a practicing Catholic. And it blows my mind. I'm a Christian. So I'm not a huge fan of Catholicism. That doesn't mean I don't like Catholic people, but my wife went to Catholic school when she was younger. My mom was a Catholic, blah, blah, blah. But, I've grown old enough to do my own research, and there's I could talk to you for 6 hours about why I don't think that that's the right path to go on in terms of religious preference. And I'm very pro-Israel for a lot of reasons. If I had absolutely no connection to the Jews whatsoever, I would still be pro-Israel. Like, who was it I just heard? Ben Shapiro said that he is, he's pro-civilization. So that means he's automatically pro-Israel and anti-Hamas and the whole Palestinian thing. And I don't want to make this a big giant Israel thing, but as far as Christians go, I've said it before on this channel. To me, it boggles my mind that there are Christians, people who say that they're professed to be Christians, and they go to church and they read their Bible, and either they don't like Jews, which that alone would just blew my mind, because I'm thinking, well, the very Lord that you worship, Jesus Christ, was a Jew, and you hate Jews. That's odd. That's just weird to me. And then you have people like Candice Owens who literally say that Israel has no right to exist. I don't know if she said something, paraphrasing, it's either like a demonic state or illegitimate state, whatever. Look, man, nobody is more critical of the Israeli government than I am. I cringe when I think about what they did to the USS Liberty. They've done a lot of shit that I can't stand. Oh, by the way, so has the American government. I love my country. I love America. And I can't stand the majority of the politicians, people that have run this country. And the things they do, the wars that we wage in other countries that are meaningless and all about money and all this other crap. So I've been to Israel. I've been to Egypt. I've been to a lot of countries, both Muslim and non-Muslim countries. I've seen Arabs in Israel. I've seen Israeli Arabs, citizens, where you have Arabs that serve in the military in Israel and serve in the government. They have an Arab serving in the government. I've seen Palestinians that live in Israel. I know the history of Palestine. I know that Palestine wasn't even considered a legitimate, nobody took it serious as a legitimate state until like the 80s, man. But certainly it was sometime in the 1920s, I think, and I'm terrible when it comes to memorizing dates and everything. But I always say this, people that talk about Israel has no right to exist, I always tell them, you open up the Bible, and I'll give you $1,000 for every time you point out where the word Palestine is mentioned. You're not going to find it. But what about Israel? Israel's mentioned all over in the Old Testament, the New Testament, because Israel is a legitimate state, has every right to exist, has every right to be where it is. And all of the bullshit about, oh, they forced everybody out at gunpoint and they stole the land. Look, these are the same people that want to talk about America and everyone else being evil because land was stolen, and all land was stolen by somebody. The majority, probably 99.9% of all countries exist within the borders that change all throughout history at the expense of other people. That's just the way civilization works. But that being said, we're coming back to Candace. I have no idea what's going on with her, but her venom, and ever since Charlie Kirk's assassination, she has turned a young woman I literally worshipped, man. And I look at her now as this snake, the way she is trying to hijack the most god-awful assassination in my lifetime and turn it into a clickbait thing for her own benefit. She is out of control. She's a Jew hater, an Israel hater. She sides with Palestine, a place where someone like her would have zero rights to do anything. That's like gay people that want to protest for, gays for Palestine. It's the old thing, it's like chickens protesting on behalf of KFC. These people have no rights. Nobody hates the Palestinian people, although I do remember them all dancing in the streets and celebrating on September 11th. I remember on October 7th, the joy, because those people have been brainwashed and they've been hijacked. I get it. I don't want to see innocent people get killed, but when it comes down to it, what's happening in Palestine, what's happening in Gaza, let's say, that's a direct result of Hamas, the very group that the Palestinian people, alleged Palestinian people, voted into office, let them control their society and dig their tunnels into Israel and put all their weapons and all their military shit right in hospitals, under hospitals, in schools. They're the biggest propaganda people that have ever lived on the face of the earth in terms of every time, they love it when their own innocent people get killed because that's propaganda that works on these unbelievably brain dead leftists in this country. Genocide, it's genocide. And as I've said a million times, on October 7th, Israel had the wherewithal and the capability to completely wipe Gaza off the map without losing one soldier. They could have done it from the air. That would have been a good genocide. If they wanted to do it, they could have done it. What kind of genocide is it when the very people that are allegedly committing genocide provide the electricity for the fucking Palestinians, provide the food, provide the medical aid? That's genocide. Give them warnings. They drop leaflets. They text people, everybody on cell phones, get away from this block because we're going to bomb it in 20 minutes. Who does that? Nobody in history has done that, but Israel does that. So this whole genocide thing is another example of how the liberals and the little wannabe commies in this country and in the West that are destroying everything good about the West, how they take and misuse words. Everybody's a Nazi. Everybody they don't like is a racist, a Nazi, a fascist. They just dilute the meaning of these words by assigning them to anything that they don't like. Any country they don't like where somebody dies, innocent people die, it's genocide. There is no war without innocent people dying. What the hell happened in Dresden in World War II? Young people probably don't even know what the hell I'm talking about, but the firebombing of Dresden wiped out an entire city. What about the nuclear bomb that was dropped, the two that were dropped on Japan? Sometimes innocent people have to die in order to stop a war. I don't write the rules. That's just the way it is. Well, what if it was one of your family? A lot of my family did die on my father's side in the Holocaust, and that's my genetic connection to the Jews. On my father's side, my family are Jewish. And we lost a majority of that half of the family in the Holocaust. When I do my ancestor DNA, I've done it. It goes right up to a certain date, and then it's Holocaust. It's where the bloodline stops. I have family members who went to Israel, the survivors of the Holocaust, with the tattooed numbers on their arms, that ended up helping establish Israel, reestablish Israel, fighting for Israel. So I have that connection. I've been there. I've walked the grounds as a Christian. I've stood in the Jordan River at the supposed site where Jesus was baptized. I felt the energy. I've been to the old city. I've been through Jerusalem, and because I'm obviously an American, had to walk through the very narrow streets. This was during the height of the Second Intifada, so there weren't a lot of tourism things going on there. I was there on business, government business. But you got teenagers and kids. Fuck you, America. Fuck America. Just before I got there, one of them ran up and sliced a cop's throat that was just doing his job there in Jerusalem. These are some violent people over there. And you and I are not going to solve the problems that have existed in Israel and will continue to exist. The Bible makes it very clear, though, that God said that he who curses Israel shall be cursed. The Jews are the chosen people of God. Doesn't mean they're superior. It never says they're superior. They were chosen because of a covenant that they broke. And in my opinion, that is why a lot of Jews wonder, why does everybody hate us? We've been hated everywhere we go. I believe that is biblical. I believe that is the punishment. I think God is, you chose to break this covenant, and now you're going to live for the rest of the time on this planet, in this world, and you're going to have strife, and you're going to have trouble, and people are going to hate you. And that's what's happening, in my opinion. But the Jewish people are good people by and large. The Jewish society is an excellent society in the middle of a nightmare land, if you ask me. People aren't beheading people in Israel under the watchful eye of the government, under the encouragement of the government. Women have all the rights that everyone else has. It's basically like a little utopia in the middle of a nightmare land. It's surrounded by nightmarish people that if you don't follow their way, you deserve to be executed. And yet you got these dumbasses in the West, particularly in America, who walk around supporting, hating Israel and supporting, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. And you go up to these dummies and you ask them, what river are you referring to? And they couldn't tell you, because they're not invested into this enough to actually learn history. They don't read the Bible. They don't read the history. They don't want to know about how Israel was formed. They don't care. And Candice Owens, I heard her complaining about how she, she does one tweet and then she starts getting all this heat from Jews and Israelis calling her an anti-Semite. Well, she has a big voice. She talks to a lot of people. She can sway people, and it's dangerous. Israel fights for their survival. They're surrounded by countries whose stated mission is to exterminate every man, woman, and child in Israel. That's what these countries, that's their charter, basically. And so when you have somebody who has a big audience like Candace, it's dangerous to the survival of Israel when you got people spreading bullshit and using words like genocide and what was the other one they always use? Ethnic cleansing. Unbelievable. So Candice Owens is no longer I'm not a fan of Candice Owens anymore. And I predict that her vile attempt to hijack Charlie Kirk's murder to somehow garner views and support, I think this is going to bite her in her nutcase ass. I think we're going to witness the absolute downfall of her. She came out with that whole Macron series that she did, and now she's getting sued for defamation. And what was she saying at first? Oh, I don't want to fight it. I'm not going to get an attorney. I want this to go to court. Now she's begging for money for defense because she's going to lose her ass. She's going to lose her ass. And it's just another example of somebody who is so ignorant, yet they're letting their mouth. I don't know if she's been possessed or what. She used to be. I used to think she was like one of the smartest people on the internet. And now I literally still watch her. I was just on Spotify. I'm still subscribed to her. And I'm listening to her. And I'm just like, look at her facial expressions. Look at the venom coming out of her face. What the hell's wrong with her, man? I don't know if she's been possessed or if she hit her head. I don't know what's going on, man. But I am flabbergasted that I used to support that chick. I don't support her anymore. And unfortunately for her, I think we're going to see the end of her celebrity because she's going to be proven wrong. And all of this bullshit she throws around, she's trying to throw smoke and all this other shit and all these conspiracies into the Charlie Kirk assassination. She's going to get her ass beat by the French, and she's going to go broke. And this is all because she's using her platform to steer our population into directions that she knows nothing about. She's making shit up. So I don't know, man. I don't know what her relationship with God is, but holy crap, man. It's just another check mark in my book about Catholics, because what she's doing that is not a godly heart. The way she speaks and the conclusions that she draws are based on emotion. They're not based on fact. I don't know, man. I had to get it out. There's my little 2 cents on Candice Owens. So I hope you guys are all having a great day. Stay safe.